All right, welcome back to another episode of the Tank's Good News Podcast. I'm your co-host, Tank Sinatra, here with my Psychopedia co-host.
Investigator Slater.
It's a day. I mean, it is a day.
You're so happy.
It's been a while. I am really, since yesterday, with the whole getting everything together to launch. By the way, if you're listening, time's not real. We are recording on actual launch day, and it's fine. Don't care.
Right.
And don't mention it ever to any of us. Because we are in just a cycle of time and goodness here, and it's not linear to us.
Nope.
So, with that said, happy you're here. And kind of freaking out.
Yo, honestly, you're like coming out of your skin.
I am freaking out. Do you know how big this is to me?
Explain. Get me pumped. I am pumped, by the way.
I've been doing this page for 7 years. 8.
I was actually going to just say, you always say 8.
8 years.
Yeah. Long time.
And it's gone through so many different iterations and changes and cycles, trying to bring people in to help it and, reconfigure the style and the delivery and all that. And some stuff has worked, some has not. But when we started doing Psychopedia, I was like, I have a very smart teammate here on this thing, on Psychopedia. Once we started talking about doing Tank's Good News, and I was already on the gas stations at that point.
Yep.
I was like, this might be bigger than I ever thought it was ever going to be.
Yeah.
And it was already big.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. It's just you're taking what you've already created, which is magic, and you're bringing it onto a different platform.
I know.
And making it in many ways more accessible.
Can I tell you something, though? It feels more magical on this platform than any other platform.
I know. Well, we're really talking directly to like-minded, good news seekers.
Yeah, because of the depth of the storytelling and the detail finding that you do.
It's intimate. It is. Like our Psychopedia listeners, I feel like we really know them, and for sure they really know us.
And it will be the same.
And we're very honest people. We let it all out on these episodes. So it's like we connect with our listeners, and this is going to be the same experience.
And they connect with us.
Yeah.
Which is impossible if you're not being honest.
Right.
So,
correct.
Because we can't connect on over a facade.
And I would say if you want to make sure you maintain that connection, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe for sure on all platforms.
And what else?
Leave a rating, leave a review, share it. I think that out of all of the podcasts that are out there, this is the one that's the most important to share with people. As you listen to it and you get that feeling like that feeling of the scales falling from your eyes. Oh my God, I've been missing all this. I've been so hung up on A, B, or C that I haven't even been able to process this stuff.
It's an awakening.
It is an awakening. So we're happy to facilitate that and to be there.
We're grateful for the opportunity to do that.
100%. And we're just glad you're listening. So if you know somebody out there who needs a little brightness in their day, send it on over to them. That's a huge help to us as we try and grow this. We hit the ground running, and I think that's what I'm feeling right now. I can't even keep up with myself.
You're feeling hyped up.
I'm feeling hyped.
Yes. You're like on top of the wave, so ride the wave.
I am about to drop in on the biggest wave of my life. That's what I feel like.
I know. Yeah. I feel the same way.
Oh, it's exciting. I'm flying right now.
You're not holding it in as much as I am, which I'm glad you're not.
I'm actually flying like you claim to have flown over on Psychopedia.
I did fly once in my life.
That's what I meant to say.
For those who don't know, when I was a little girl, I 100% flew in the front yard of my parents' house. And now we probably just lost all of our listeners.
We just accepted as fact over here.
Yes,
/ do not. But if this is your first time here listening, welcome to the podcast. If this is your 6th time here listening, welcome home.
Good newsy.
All right. Okay.
I went for it.
Good newsers. And without any further ado, actually a little bit of ado. Okay, because something major happened in my life 2 days ago. You know how I hate when people ask me how things were?
Yes,
or I hate when they invite me to do things.
Yeah, I don't know how to be your friend.
I know.
Sometimes.
I also, this is a private moment for me. If I'm out doing something and I'm busy and my phone rings, I'm like, how dare you call me at this moment?
Why is that? I'm the same way.
So here's what it is.
Like, oh, she's calling.
She doesn't know what you're doing.
She's your best friend, man.
Oh, doesn't she know I'm stressed out right now and in the middle of something? So a friend of mine asked me to go do something, which I thought was annoying to ask me to do.
All right.
He asked me to fly down to Florida to go hang out on a yacht with him and like 11 other dudes.
What?
Okay, so listen to me. That are all, all different modalities of expertise, right? So first of all, no. Second of all, in my heart of hearts, why are you asking me to do that? It's rude. Third of all, I realized it's not rude. He loves me and all of these people, and he wanted to get us together. He was just being nice. So listen to me. I know your face is
yeah.
1,000 words. So you know when I would tell you that, like, I don't like when you ask me how the weekend was or how the wedding was or whatever.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable for me to see you on a Monday.
So
I don't know what to talk about.
So you say
how your weekend was.
Or when anyone asks questions, they're just being nice. And I never processed that. I never even allowed that in until this experience where I realized for myself without somebody telling me, because somebody telling you doesn't work sometimes.
You gotta learn for yourself.
I go, I'm feeling annoyed. I hang up with him. I don't say anything. I'm like, have fun, whatever. And then I go, oh, God, it's so annoying that he asked me to do it. And then I thought, he's just being nice.
I can't let you go another minute here because I don't understand what was rude. Why was it rude that he invited you to hang out on a yacht with his friends?
Because I have kids and I'm not flying down to Florida for a 6-day hang with people that I have no idea who they are.
Rude is not the right word.
I know.
Okay. Maybe it's a little
disrespectful.
No. Why are we so opposite on this issue? I would have thought I would be the dark cloud and you would be the ray of sunshine.
Not here.
No, that's not. It's none of those things.
I know.
It's maybe a little bit like I have a good friend who always wants to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't care if your kids are screaming, crying, pulling on you. And I'm like,
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
What am I getting out of that experience? But then I realized she just wants to connect with me. How beautiful. She's giving me a pass.
I know.
It doesn't have to be a perfect conversation. Anything I can get from you is valuable.
I know.
So it was not rude that he invited you, but
big realization for me.
Maybe you should go. Maybe you should
It already happened. No.
Okay.
There's no way I would do that, but I don't have to be annoyed by it either.
No, you don't. You
don't. So thank you for guiding me to that.
Okay.
Along the way.
And my quick story is not as deep, but it's one that I wish to share. My pit bull, who I think is absolutely perfect, stole a taco yesterday.
Nice.
And it was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Good for him.
Stole it off my kid's little table, brought it into his apartment, which is his crate, but we don't call it a crate, we call it an apartment. Mm-hmm. And he ate an entire taco and I watched.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to yell at him because I thought it was the greatest, cutest thing I've ever seen.
He's a real go-getter.
Yep, and that's my good news story.
We have incorporated the phrase "get naked" into taking our dog's collars off. Yeah.
Yay!
Jessica started it actually.
Yay!
Like right after you said it.
Yep.
She took Ellie's collar off. She's like, "You want to get naked?"
We say every night, time to get naked. Take his collars off, and then he goes to sleep all comfy and smushy.
Yeah.
Nothing constricting.
No. All right. Well, that was quite a bit of a do. But again, I'm on one today. And now I'd like to just rocket into the fourth dimension. I haven't even heard the stories yet.
I know.
Oh, my God.
All right.
I'm a buckle up.
Our first story unfolded on May 16th, 2024, during a fierce storm that swept through Houston, Texas, bringing winds up to 100 miles per hour and setting the stage for an act of courage and kindness that would leave a lasting impact. Because that day, a man named Bryan Pederson from Tomball, Texas, a husband, father, and senior sales executive, was driving home after dropping his son off at hockey practice. The drive was mostly uneventful, the kind of routine stretch of road that Bryan had traveled countless times before.
That you just black out on.
Yeah, it's rote at that point.
No idea how you got home.
But then his phone rang. On the other end was his wife, her voice tinged with concern. She explained that their young daughter had been worried about him. Moments earlier, the little girl grabbed her mother's hand, her small fingers trembling as she asked her mother to pray, whispering, "Something bad is going to happen to Dad." Then, as if on cue, the unthinkable happened. While Bryan sat at a traffic light speaking to his wife on the phone about their little girl saying that something bad was going to happen to him, a massive oak tree, its roots torn free by the raging storm, came hurtling down with a deafening crash.
On his car?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
The colossal trunk smashed into his SUV with such force that the vehicle crumpled like a tin can, folding in on itself and pinning Bryan.
Ooh.
The once sturdy steel frame now warped and twisted around him, leaving him utterly trapped, the air thick with the acrid scent of splintered wood, crushed metal, and the storm's relentless fury. Around 10 cars witnessed this horrific freak accident, but chose to turn around and drive away from the scene, leaving Bryan on his own, trapped inside, struggling to breathe as the roof pressed down on him.
Wow.
Bryan wasn't even sure that he'd been hurt. He went almost instantly into shock, but he did know that he was in serious danger. Panic set in, as you'd expect, and Bryan began to fear that those terrifying moments pinned inside the twisted metal of his car might be his final moments on Earth. Still on the phone with his wife, he could hear her voice steadily urging him to stay focused and to survive. Can you imagine being the wife?
No.
I was on the phone once with firefighter Dave when we lived in New York City, and I heard him getting mugged.
Really?
It was horrible.
The phone?
So he was on the phone with me, and he started getting mugged, and I heard it happening.
Is that when they ripped the phone out of his hand?
Yeah, but first there was like you could hear like a back and forth, an altercation. You could hear like I don't know, like clothes being like grabbed. Do you know what I mean? A commotion, exactly. Yeah. And then I heard wind, like because the guy was running.
Oh my God.
With his phone. And I had no idea, obviously, if he was okay or whatever. He thankfully went inside of a Dunkin' Donuts and called me to say that he was okay.
Wow.
Eventually, 2 cars stopped. One was being driven by a 48-year-old man named Travis Lennon, and the other was being driven by a 26-year-old woman named Veronica Marin, a single working mother of 3. Both Travis and Veronica had their children with them in their respective cars, but that didn't stop either of them from wanting to pull over and help Bryan.
And the car was in the middle of the road?
Was at his traffic light.
Just smashed by a tree?
Yeah.
And the cars drove away?
At least 10 drove away.
Why?
I know we always say we try not to judge like how we would react in situations and you just don't know.
You know what? Maybe I just realized some kind of motivation for driving away. They just saw a tree smashed. The winds are going 100 miles an hour. Maybe they were like, I don't want to get smashed by a tree.
Maybe they had their children in the car with them, and
maybe they called the cops as they left.
I know, and I try not to judge, and I'm really not. I would like to think if I saw that happen, I would stop my car and make sure that the human being inside was okay.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was definitely driving it. It was at a light.
Yes. And Travis and Veronica, they had their children with them. It didn't stop them. They both stopped. Reflecting on her decision to act, Veronica later said in Spanish, so this is kind of a loose translation, I saw the tree fall on the truck. What impacted me was all the cars that turned around. And in front of me, I don't know, without thinking, my mother instincts kicked in.
Oh, so he was in the front, 10 cars behind him. They did a U-turn and busted out of there?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the cars that were in the vicinity saw what happened and just moved on or turned back. And with that, both Travis and Veronica sprang into action. Together, they tried the passenger door to get it open, but the damage was so severe that they could not extract Bryan.
Yeah.
Travis left to find a crowbar in an effort to smash the console, which was blocking Bryan's escape. In the meantime, Veronica, who stands at just 5'2" tall, managed to crawl inside of the crushed SUV.
That would have been your moment to shine.
Oh, yeah. I thought about that. I was like, short queen.
Yeah.
Once inside, she undid Bryan's seatbelt and set her sights on setting him free. Bryan, listen to this, who stands at 6 feet 7 inches tall.
6 feet 7 inches?
Yes, and 265 pounds, doubted whether he'd be able to maneuver out of the tight, crumpled space, especially with the tree still crushing down on the vehicle and glass cracking around him.
Yeah. I mean, just to focus for 1 second on that happening. So I think, I don't know, trees falling on things is kind of like, okay, maybe it won't destroy. Like if a tree fell on my house, would it destroy or would it just kind of like be stopped by the shingles in the frame or would it go through a little bit? Like my house is not going to explode upon a tree falling on it. But if you've ever tried to pick up like a significant piece of a tree that's maybe say 2 feet wide and like 18 inches tall or whatever it is so heavy.
I know.
It's so heavy. So times that by 50, And the leverage that comes down upon you is like...
Yeah, I think it could crush a house. I think a giant oak tree.
Oh, no, yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the specific trees around my house.
Okay, yeah. Well, little dainty, lovely looking things.
I
Maybe not.
wouldn't call them dainty.
They are. They're lovely. But they're very big trees.
But they're like an 8-inch around tree. It's
Right.
not,
Yes.
not a mighty oak.
No, this was a mighty oak. So Bryan questioned whether or not he'd be able to make it out, even if Veronica managed to work her way in, release his seatbelt, and help him have the option to get out, right? But Veronica never wavered. She grabbed Bryan's arms and encouraged him every step of the way, pulling and guiding him to safety. With her help and Travis's support, Bryan twisted and contorted his large body until finally they managed to pull him free. Standing in the rain, dazed and in shock, Bryan struggled to process what just happened. Travis guided him to his truck to wait for emergency responders while Veronica quietly returned to her car. Her 3 children had been waiting patiently for her, and without asking for thanks or recognition, she simply drove away. As later indicated by Bryan, quote, "She pulled me out and she disappeared. She never even waited for a thank you or anything. She just did it out of the goodness of her heart." Bryan was assessed by first responders after this horrifying accident, and against all odds, he walked away with nothing more than a sore back, a miracle that defied the sheer violence of the crash.
Keep in mind, there's 100-mile-per-hour winds.
Right.
I don't want anybody to forget that, because it's like that's a crazy enough situation as it is.
Yeah. Oh, it's a raging storm. Overwhelmed with gratitude for the selfless act that had saved his life, Bryan became determined to thank Veronica, the woman who risked everything to pull him from the wreckage. But there was one problem. Like a true unsung hero, she just vanished. No name, no contact information, just the memory of her courage etched into his mind.
What about Travis? What did he do?
Veronica left. Travis stuck around.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Bryan went into Travis's car to wait for emergency services. Did
you say that?
I did.
My apologies.
That's all good. Bryan began his search, for Veronica, fueled by an unshakable need to find the stranger who stepped into his darkest moment and gave him another chance at life.
Oh, yeah.
Little did he know, the path to finding Veronica would reveal not just her identity, but a story even more extraordinary than he could have imagined.
Oh, boy. What is about to happen?
Using Facebook, Bryan eventually found Veronica. The two reunited at a local fire station, joined by Travis, where Bryan finally had the chance to express his heartfelt gratitude. However, during their reunion, Bryan discovered something that deepened his awe for Veronica's extraordinary bravery. As a single mother of 3, Veronica was already no stranger to struggle, but what truly stunned Bryan was to learn that she suffered from chronic back pain caused by a work accident that had cracked a disc in her lower spine.
So she gets it.
Yes. Despite living with constant pain, she unflinchingly crawled into his mangled SUV, risking further injury to save his life. Her courage and selflessness in the face of such adversity were nothing short of staggering, and it became just extra clear to Bryan in that moment all that she sort of put on the line to help him.
That adrenaline is amazing.
It's real.
Yeah.
As Bryan got to know Veronica, he discovered more about the challenges that she faced, even beyond sort of that physical injury.
Well, she's very short, too.
Okay. Obviously, it's a
he found out about
superpower.
her other struggles, like not being able to reach the bowls.
Let me tell you something. The struggle is real for us.
I know it is.
It is.
I'm sure it is, but 6'7" him standing next to 5'2" her.
I know.
I kind of want to see it.
I know. I think I mentioned this on Encyclopedia. I once dated someone who was 6'4". It didn't feel right.
No.
The gap was just way too big.
No.
So Veronica worked a full-time job while struggling to make ends meet, juggling payments for her home, her car, and all 3 of her children.
Yeah.
They all needed childcare. Despite working tirelessly to provide for her children, her home was in dire need of repairs. Seeing her situation, Bryan realized that it was his turn to help her.
Oh, hell yeah.
Bryan shared, quote, "I feel incredibly blessed to be part of Veronica's story and would love to help change her life for the better. She is an amazing human being for what she did for me." So first, he launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for repairs that Veronica needed to her home. And the response was overwhelming. Within just a few months, the fundraiser had collected tens of thousands of dollars, far more than Bryan had expected.
Yeah.
As the total climbed past $50,000, Veronica humbly told Bryan, "It's too much. Make them stop." But Bryan saw an opportunity to do something even more transformative.
I'm going to make them donate even harder.
Exactly. Rather than repairing Veronica's current home, Bryan began working with a mobile home company that was inspired by her story.
Amazing.
And the company offered to sell a new home at cost, complete with a warranty. So by September, Veronica was given a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with appliances delivered directly to her.
That's amazing.
Overcome with emotion, Veronica described the experience as surreal. She said, "I'm so very happy because it's incredible. Also, I'm very happy for my kids."
Yeah.
Both Bryan and Travis, the other hero who helped rescue Bryan that day, were there to celebrate this joyous moment with her. The GoFundMe ended soon after, with the leftover funds going directly to Veronica. In total, the campaign raised over $68,000, providing Veronica and her children not just with a new home, but essentially with a fresh start.
Yeah.
What began as a devastating accident became so much bigger. Veronica Marin and Travis Lennon didn't just save Bryan Pederson's life. They reminded him and the entire world that compassion in action is transformative.
Compassion in action.
It's like my favorite phrase. I try and work it in whenever I can.
I've never heard you say that before.
Really?
Compassion in action?
Yeah, that was...
Oh, that's good.
When Dave and I had our pit bull rescue, that was like our phrase. Put compassion in action. Whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
For Bryan, the experience wasn't just about survival. It was a chance to give back, to restore hope, and to reignite a belief in the goodness of people. In his words, "I've got this new faith in humanity, and it's just amazing to witness and be a part of it."
Putting aside the material gift that she was given, something like that, which is why I started ifoundmoneytoday.com. Remember 2012? I was like, let me just see what happens when someone finds $5 somewhere. It's like this feeling that, all right, maybe I'm not forgotten about.
Yeah, like you would say, the universe is winking at me.
Yeah,
I matter.
big time.
I exist. I'm here. This happened to me, right here, right now.
For me.
Exactly.
There's probably a lot of goodwill still going on between them, I imagine.
These are the best kinds of stories because it's like, what can I do for you? No, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
No, what can I do for you? It's like a ping pong game. It's like back and forth, but it's coming from the best place.
I worked at a restaurant in Newport Beach when I lived in California. It was called Mama D's, and it was owned by a New Yorker. And you remember in California when I had no money? Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
I also remember trying avocado with eggs for the first time out there when we went to visit you, and it was delicious, and I've never been able to not eat avocado with eggs.
Right?
Yes, the rooftop,
breakfast.
exactly.
Yeah. Kaya in Laguna Beach, no longer there.
Oh.
But there was, I believe, like 6 or 7 people who worked at the restaurant, and I put on a great show during the interview, right? It was listed on Craigslist, so I was there with like 60, 70 other people applying for the job. I was like...
Do you breakdance for them?
No, not yet. I said, there's no way I'm getting this, obviously. So I'll do the interview and then I'll keep looking. Wound up getting the job, which made me feel good being chosen. But then it was the oddest thing, the way they worked there. Like they would rush to outserve each other.
Oh my God.
Like getting a bus bin into the dishwasher, and like just that takes time. It's heavy. They would be like pushing each other out of the way to do it.
That's awesome. Just to have the experience of doing your job well. Is that what that was?
No, it was like them just like
a happy good competition.
I'm gonna do the most good here. I was like, go for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd go reach and I'd be like, oh, sorry. Yeah, you can take it if you want.
You don't really see competitions that are motivated by good service, right? You see competitions like I'm going to do better so that I can make more or, get a better return on investment.
Yeah.
But for them, it was just to do the best job.
Yeah, and there was no reward for it.
Right, exactly.
It's just like goodwill being spread around.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for our next story?
I am.
Okay, cool. This next story reveals the life-changing power of a single act of kindness. It's a tale of resilience, generosity, and an extraordinary bond that blossomed in the most unexpected way, a bond that completely transformed the life of a determined single mother in ways that she never imagined. Latonya Young, a single mother of 3, grew up in Tifton, Georgia, which is a small city near the Florida border, about 200 miles south of Atlanta. Yes, I said Florida in a way that I think you don't like.
How did you say it?
Florida?
That's what you say?
Yeah, apparently it just came out that way. I thought I said Florida.
Florida.
Since I'm from New York.
Yeah.
I think Dave's wearing off on me.
Oh, boy.
Life shifted dramatically for Latonya at just 16 years old when she had her first son. Faced with the overwhelming responsibilities of young motherhood, she made the difficult decision to drop out of high school to care for him. But Latonya was no stranger to perseverance, and she refused to let her circumstances define her or the rest of her life. She worked to earn her GED, which was a hard-fought milestone. Yet for Latonya, it wasn't enough. Driven by an unshakable desire to achieve more, Latonya set her sights on higher education. In 2010, she enrolled at Georgia State University's Perimeter College in Atlanta, determined to create a better future for herself and her children. Balancing the demands of single motherhood with the rigors of college life was no small feat, but Latonya continued to push forward with resilience.
People are capable of amazing things.
It really makes me feel something. I'm trying to think of the emotion, but like I became a mother after I got married when I was 30, and I struggled to get out of bed in the morning. Now, I did struggle with postpartum depression, but just for years, I'm saying, I struggled to just meet the needs of my children and function as a human being.
Yeah.
So when I hear about a woman, a girl, 16 years old, raising a child and obtaining her GED, and then after that being like, what's next? Okay, college, now I have more than one child. And it's like superhero status for me. I can't imagine being able to do all that.
I don't think you'd have any problem.
Thank you.
If you had to do it. You didn't have to do it.
Yeah,
So
I
you
had
didn't.
to get out of bed, and that felt
No,
like...
no, I'm saying about the other stuff. Like when I was in college, there was a point in time, like 6 months, where I was going to school full time, working full time, meetings, interning in the city 2 full days a week, full days, Tuesday and Thursday, just trying to keep my head on straight. And it was 7 days a week, morning till night. And it never felt like anything but just what I needed.
I guess you
to do.
adapt. You adapt. But she could have said, I'm a mother.
Of course she
I'm
should
a
have.
single mother.
Yeah.
And survival is not just good enough, but great right now.
Yeah.
But she pushed.
Yeah.
It's the pushing part that gets me.
Yeah.
Because even the bare minimum for me was a struggle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A year later, however, financial struggles forced Latonya to put her dreams on hold and withdraw from her studies, a decision that left her grappling with profound disappointment. She said, I was so disappointed in myself with that. I felt like something was missing from my life, something I needed to finish. She had a relentless determination that burned within her, a vision of a future that she refused to let slip away, even as obstacles and odds continued to stack against her. Over the years, every time Latonya managed to save money for college, one unforeseen expense or another would derail her plans. Family needs and medical bills from surgeries she had undergone would always have to take priority, and it left Latonya's dreams of higher education sort of on the sideline, seemingly out of reach as she focused on providing for her children and keeping her family afloat. It was like I was stuck inside a box and couldn't get out, she explained. I was just trying to do whatever I could do to take care of my kids.
Yeah.
Then a car accident in 2015 further compounded her financial setbacks. By 2018, Latonya worked 2 jobs just to make ends meet, one as a hairstylist during the day and one as an Uber driver at night in Atlanta. Then, one evening in May of that same year, which is 2018, fate took the front seat when Latonya picked up a man named Kevin Esch, an estate manager who requested a ride after attending an Atlanta United soccer game.
I think I know this story.
Oh, yeah. Neither Latonya nor Kevin could have possibly imagined how that chance meeting that should have been just a business transaction would transform both of their lives.
Yeah.
Because during the drive, they struck up an easy but heartfelt conversation, which makes me feel really bad for putting my headphones in when I take Uber.
Well, you'll throw up.
I will. I have no choice. Latonya opened up about her struggles and explained how she was driving for Uber to pay off her electric bill and save enough money to return to school. She shared her dream of becoming the first in her family to graduate from college. Kevin, who was going through a difficult period after his recent divorce, offered Latonya words of encouragement and urged her to stop hesitating and to take the leap back into her education.
Yeah.
Latonya also shared advice with Kevin about moving forward after his divorce, drawing from her own experiences as a divorcee since 2011. Kevin later described their exchange as easy and authentic, and how by the time he arrived home, he felt unexpectedly uplifted by their connection. By the end of the half-hour ride, Kevin surprised Latonya with a $150 tip to help her pay off her electric bill. They took a selfie together. Kevin gave her his phone number and asked her to let him know when she enrolled in school. Latonya promised that she would do just that, and from that moment on, a unique and transformative friendship began, one that would soon have Latonya unlocking a much brighter future. Because after the Uber ride ended, Latonya made a firm decision. She had to go back to college. Kevin's encouragement had given her that motivation that she needed, that little bit of extra strength and the push that it took to get her to make the move.
Yeah.
But when Latonya tried to re-enroll at Georgia State University, she encountered yet another obstacle. The university informed her that she owed nearly $700 from her previous enrollment, and the debt had to be cleared before she could enroll and move forward. Mm-hmm. Disheartened, Latonya shared her situation with Kevin. Without telling her, Kevin decided to take matters into his own hands. Kevin went to the college and paid off her outstanding balance. Reflecting on his decision, he said, "I didn't want that to be a roadblock because it was something that I could change. I was in a place to be able to do it, and it was the right thing to do." He then sent Latonya a picture of the receipt telling her that she was now free to return to college. By the way, I had such a flashback when I read this part of the story, when I was researching this part. Mm-hmm. My father did the same thing for one of my brother's friends. His father had passed away, mm-hmm. and he didn't have enough money to pay off the previous semester at his college, so he had to stop. He couldn't move forward.
Yeah.
And my father never said anything, but I overheard him talking about it, mm-hmm. and then I called him when I was researching, and I'm like, did this happen, or did I totally fabricate this? And it did. Mm-hmm. And he paid the balance on my brother's friend's tuition so that he can enroll and move forward.
Wow.
It's like if you have it, I mean, you are changing somebody. Yeah. Completely. Their entire future. The future of her children.
Yeah.
You know?
If you can, I like finding GoFundMes that are, close to the goal. Ish, kind of, close is relative. And then just,
finishing
it's over.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
you're done.
Best. That's the best.
Hope you don't need any more, but...
But can you imagine how she must have felt getting a picture of the receipt being, paid in full? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you're out there and you're thinking $700, what's the big deal?
Oh, it's a big deal.
I mean, I vividly remember, I remember coming back from California when I was broke. By the way, I was 30. It wasn't like I was 21. I was a man.
It doesn't matter.
You know? No, I was like a full-grown adult at that point. And my car was giving me trouble, and the guy that I worked for, our yard was right behind a mechanic shop. It was my livelihood. I drove for a living to different estimates, and it was like every day I got in, it was like, maybe today's the day that it explodes and I die, but I don't have any way to fix it.
Right.
He goes, dude, just take it to Steve. He'll fix it. It'll take him 2 hours, $200, and you'll be on your way. And I legitimately, in my soul, legitimately was like, who has $200, bro?
That's
just laying around.
That's completely relatable.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, when Dave and I lived in New York City, all of our money went to rent, and neither one of us was making any money.
Yeah.
When we both worked for schools.
Yeah.
We had cereal for dinner twice a week. Because the idea of spending $30 on dinner?
Oh.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
No, until you've been in that position at least once in your life, I feel like it's hard to appreciate maybe, I don't know, having anything until you've had actually nothing, being able to appreciate having anything at all. And the trick is if you can be happy while having nothing, chances of you being happy while having more are way higher.
That's a great point.
Plenty of people who have more than they could ever need or use or spend, just constantly looking at what they don't have. Which, by the way, it will be addressed later in the episode in Tank's Tidbit.
Oh, okay. So hold on to that.
Okay.
So Latonya was absolutely overwhelmed by Kevin's generosity after receiving a picture of the receipt. This person barely knew me, and yet he wanted to help me, she said. Touched by his selflessness, she offered to repay him, but Kevin refused. Instead, he told her that the best way she could repay him was to focus on her studies and to finally graduate. With Kevin's support clearing the way, Latonya felt a renewed sense of purpose. It was time, she decided, to do something for herself and set an example for her children. And determined to honor her promise to Kevin, Latonya enrolled in school and remained fully committed to achieving the dream that she'd been working toward for so long. Very much inspired by Kevin's faith in her and his unwavering selfless support, Latonya worked tirelessly to fulfill her promise. She maintained A's and B's, all while raising her 3 sons and juggling 2 jobs.
Oh, my God.
Throughout her journey, she kept Kevin updated on her progress, determined not to let him down. Latonya started affectionately referring to Kevin as her Power Ranger and credited him for reigniting her drive to succeed in the academic arena.
That's a good thing to call someone.
Yeah. Kevin, however, described his gesture as an easy decision. There was something about Latonya that she resonates with me, he said. I could have bought new clothes or I could have helped someone out. And what has come back to me has come back 100-fold, and I would do it 1,000 times over. Now, Kevin's kindness was not an isolated incident.
That would be $700,000. It took me too long to do
that was a little delayed, but you got there.
I was like, that would be $7 billion.
A lot of money. Evidently, this incredibly generous human being frequently performs small gestures or not small gestures to brighten other people's lives, from paying for strangers' coffees to covering groceries for the person in line behind him. I try to do acts of kindness all the time, he explained. I really, truly feel that if you put good out there in the world, you're going to get it back.
Oh, it's the best.
I look for things to try to help people. And boy, did he help Latonya, because on December 18th, 2019, Latonya Young achieved the milestone that she had so long been dreaming of. She graduated with an associate degree in criminal justice. Big clap
Criminal
for me
justice,
on
yeah.
that, and officially became the first person in her family to graduate from college.
Wow.
Kevin was there, of course, along with Latonya's family, to cheer her on as she proudly walked across that stage to receive her hard-earned diploma. Latonya and Kevin took photos together on campus, with Latonya beaming in her cap and gown. She shared the photos on her Facebook page with a heartfelt caption saying, "You never know who God will send to change your life. All thanks to the man upstairs. I had my son at a young age, dropped out of high school, but it's not how you start in life, it's how you finish. I'm encouraging you all that need an extra push not to give up."
Yeah.
At this point, only those in Latonya and Kevin's circles were aware of, Kevin's incredible generosity and Latonya's resilience. But that changed when the Atlanta Journal-Constitution published a feature about Latonya's journey and her friendship with Kevin. The story quickly gained widespread attention, went viral, and sparked a wave of media coverage from around the world. In fact, the momentum of their story was so intense that it eventually led to an appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, where Ellen celebrated their remarkable bond with her own heartfelt surprises.
Relatable.
Not, they warmed the same seat that you sat in.
Yes.
Because during the segment, Latonya was presented with a $25,000 check and tickets to an NFL game, while Kevin was given a trip to a destination of his choice.
Wow.
I wonder where he chose. Now, incredibly, Latonya's story and journey didn't end with her earning her associate degree. After graduating, she enrolled in Georgia State University's Andrew Young School of Policy Studies to pursue a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. To help cover the costs, Latonya received financial support from the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund, an organization dedicated to assisting low-income women over the age of 35 in pursuing higher education. Since its inception in 1976, the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund has empowered more than 1,300 women to achieve their educational dreams by offering them the resources to break barriers and transform their lives. Latonya's inspiring journey and her beautiful friendship with Kevin also caught the attention of the scholarship fund's chief operating officer, who was so moved that she invited Kevin to join the organization's board, which he accepted.
Nice.
On May 6, 2021, Latonya graduated with her bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And once again, her good friend Kevin was there to celebrate her achievement. Reflecting on the moment her name was called, Kevin said, "It was just pure pride. I'm proud that she followed through with what she said she would do for herself. She is such an inspiration to me, but also to so many people who are in the same position as her. She's got an incredible future ahead of her."
And now to anybody who's heard this podcast.
That's right. For Latonya, this moment symbolized more than just an academic accomplishment. It was a turning point in her life. She called it a double graduation, as she had recently secured a new apartment for her family, moving out of public housing after 12 years. She even got to watch her son, Jacob, graduate from the same college as she did in January 2021, where he studied marketing. Watching her son take his monumental step in her footsteps towards his future filled Latonya with immense pride.
That's a good day.
That's a great day. Latonya hopes that her journey will encourage other women to pursue their dreams regardless of the obstacles they may face. "I just want everybody out there to be encouraged not to give up," she said. She is certainly led by example and deserves all the happiness and success that she's worked so hard to achieve.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had a very difficult time with college also, financially, attention-wise, time-wise. I don't think people realize, I don't know what the numbers are, but really all you hear about is someone going to college and getting out 4 years later with a bachelor's.
Right.
That's like the story,
Yeah.
right? It took me 7 years to graduate college. I went to 3 different colleges.
It's a journey.
I went to Nassau Community College, and I went to University of Maryland, where I met your husband and became others with him. Got expelled from there for drugs. Took a year or 2 off, went back to Farmingdale. It was just, I thought it would not matter to me when my diploma arrived in the mail. It did.
Of course.
Oh, it did.
It was for you to get to that point, you know?
At that point, it wasn't a piece of paper. It was like a symbol of determination.
You didn't stop.
No, and I don't know where it is now.
I know, same. What is that? What is that about? It was so important to me too. It felt, especially, I had a different experience. I went to the same college for 4 years, but I struggled with horrific depression.
But I wonder how many people go to college and don't finish.
Loads. And
I
whatever
know.
your reason is, like Latonya had Kevin to help her along. I think you had just your strength and your will, and your ability to pivot is remarkable too. Like, I give you so much credit for that. Like, it didn't work out here, you got expelled. Okay, next. For whatever reason, you finished one institution, you wanted to keep going. Okay, then that's what you did.
Tank be nimble.
Tank B 7 years in college, but that's okay.
Tank B could have been a doctor, but instead graduated with a technical communications degree from a small state school in Long Island. But
impressive.
Done.
Tank. Impressive.
Yeah.
For me, if I didn't meet Dave, I never would have graduated. And that's purely because of my depression.
Yeah.
But he got me through that.
Yeah.
So it's like I leaned on him and I got through it.
if anybody could,
Yeah.
it would be him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. He metaphorically carried me.
Yeah, and probably physically too.
Definitely physically. Our final story.
No.
I know. Our final story highlights an extraordinary commitment to inclusivity led by a professional football team that's redefining what it means to create a welcoming space for all, including individuals on the autism spectrum.
Football or football?
Football.
American football.
American football.
Just want to know where I'm playing here.
Okay.
Okay.
Autism touches millions of lives worldwide, and in the U.S. alone, 1 in 36 individuals under the age of 21 are on the autism spectrum, according to the Centers for Disease Control. It's the fastest growing developmental disorder and impacts countless families. For Jeffrey Lurie, owner and CEO of the Philadelphia Eagles, this reality is deeply personal. With his brother Peter being on the autism spectrum, Jeffrey has witnessed the transformative power that access to the right resources and support can have.
Oh, yeah.
You remember when firefighter Dave was a teacher at a school for children with autism, right?
Oh, yeah.
He worked in, I think that's actually where he got mugged.
Yeah, it was. It was. One of my favorite stories ever came from him working there.
What story?
He said that one day they were out all walking outside. He was with his, group of students or whatever, and there was a helicopter flying overhead. And one of the students looked up and goes, "Colopter."
Oh,
I
know. How cute.
I have almost, to the best of my knowledge and memory, not seen a helicopter and said "Colopter."
That is adorable. I never even heard that story.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, he used to spend hours at night, like with his own money too, because sadly funding is just an issue everywhere.
Yeah.
Making color printout photographs of like toothbrushes and toothpaste and, setting schedules just to give to his students to take home and, learn the behaviors and mannerisms that they needed to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And he would always like flip the book and he'd be like, what's your takeaway from this? And I'm like, it's exactly the process of when to brush your teeth, how to do it step by step. And he was very, very good at what he did.
Yeah, he's good at everything
I know.
he does.
It's so annoying. Okay. So Peter, Jeffrey Lurie's brother, is 3 years younger than Jeffrey, and the two grew up together in West Newton, Massachusetts. From a young age, Jeffrey grappled with understanding why Peter was quote-unquote different from him and their younger sister, Kathy. One memory from Jeffrey's early teens stands out very vividly for him. He and Peter were in a hotel elevator when another guest stepped inside of the elevator with a dog. While Peter was not typically prone to tantrums, his deep fear of dogs surfaced instantly, causing him to freeze in a total state of panic. And Jeffrey remembers thinking, why? Why this fear? But he'd never learned the answer because Peter was unable to provide the feedback needed to fully communicate his thoughts and emotions. Jeffrey remembers feeling frustrated, confused, and heartbroken in spite of all the positive aspects of his brother that existed. For example, Peter could note every tune of any song he'd ever listened to, whether it was the Beatles, Bob Dylan, or show tunes. But something like communicating what scared him about a dog, he didn't have that capability.
Can I say something to you that I think is important for people to know?
Yeah.
A friend of ours from just the area, school, gym, church, whatever, two of their sons developed autism post-vaccine. Not saying it's correlated or caused by. What I am saying is that very recently she found out that she had a gene that didn't allow vaccines to be processed through her body. So they just, in the kids, built up and built up and built up, and that she thinks had an effect on them. So the reason I'm saying this is because I think that test should be mandatory for people now.
I've never heard of this test.
It's brand new revelation in genetic study.
Wow.
And autism study. Like, they're really obviously trying to figure out, like, why is it increasing so fast and so rapidly?
I know the question of whether it's just being diagnosed more now, it's being identified more now, or whether it's really popping up more.
Which is probably part of it.
Right.
They changed the diagnostic, criteria for it. But yeah, she carries this gene that the boys were not able to clear out the vaccines before the next round of shots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Everything changed when Peter was in his late 30s. Jeffrey, then living in Los Angeles, received a life-altering call from their mother. Peter had begun communicating his thoughts and feelings by typing on a keyboard.
Nice.
Intrigued, Jeffrey flew back east to see for himself. It was a stunning and joyful revelation. The brothers stayed up all night talking, sharing emotions and experiences for the first time. Peter told their mom that he loved her and expressed the same thing to Jeffrey.
Okay.
He also opened up about unresolved grief that he had for their father, who died when they were just children.
Oh my God, he wasn't able to
No.
express that?
No. At the time, Peter had been en route to an autism center at the University of Chicago, and he missed the chance to mourn alongside the family and to process the loss. Jeffrey recalls, quote, "Now you could have pretty high-level conversations with him and emotionally filled conversations. It became so clear that all those years, though he was quiet, sitting in the corner at school, he had taken it all in.
Yeah.
He understood everything in his entire life, it's incredible. Peter lives a full, rich life, which is what has inspired Jeffrey to use his platform for autism advocacy. There's a lot of people like my brother, he says. The puzzle is there. The opportunity to unlock it in other ways is there.
Yeah.
And so Jeffrey spearheaded the Eagles Autism Foundation, an initiative dedicated to advancing innovative research and providing critical care for individuals and families affected by autism. The foundation isn't just about raising awareness, it's about taking action. In just a few years, it has raised over $30 million, funding breakthroughs that drive really, really meaningful change.
Research-wise.
Yeah.
Did you know that the Ronald McDonald House was started also by the Philadelphia Eagles as well?
No
No.
way.
If you couldn't hear that, our producer Anthony just said that the Ronald McDonald House was started by the Philadelphia Eagles as well.
Bunch of do-gooders.
They got some power.
Yeah, good for them.
And in the right direction, because you'd think with the way Eagles fans act.
Oh. Wow, them be fighting words.
They'd be funding underground fight clubs or something along those lines. But no, research, which now that I'm saying what I said about our friend who has the autistic boys, that was a result of research.
Sure.
For sure.
Absolutely. Everything comes from knowledge and gaining it, taking that knowledge and actually doing something.
Yeah.
But it all needs money.
Yes.
And Jeffrey and the Eagles didn't stop there. They kept flying. Oh!
Nice.
In 2019, they teamed up with the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Culture City, which is a nonprofit organization committed to improving accessibility for individuals with sensory needs, to create a groundbreaking space at Lincoln Financial Field, which is home to the Eagles. Together, they built a 500-square-foot sensory room designed to ensure that everyone, regardless of sensory sensitivities, can experience the excitement of game day.
I just saw something the other day. I was looking up movie times for Sonic 3, and I saw that the movie theater that we go to has like a sensory-friendly experience separate from the movie in its original format. And we've talked about this before.
Yes, I'm very, very familiar with sensory issues.
No, I meant the fact that I have the movies are too loud for me.
Oh, yeah.
now. Like,
And it's too loud for you. No, I'm not like diminishing your experience. Like, you don't enjoy it. It's too loud. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't trigger anything beyond that.
No.
Imagine having
That's
sort
what
of
I'm
like
saying.
your sensitivities physically, and then have it being triggering emotionally, psychologically, mentally
yeah.
on top of that.
No, I know. I'm just like a regular grumpy moviegoer. And I'm like, that's so loud in here.
When did you get old?
When they started turning the volume all the way up.
Yeah, but the other day you posted, I don't know where, I guess maybe Tank Sinatra, and you're like, when did the headlights get so bright? Like, when did you get so old? No comment?
That was definitely not me.
Yes, it was. You made a meme about it. About headlights being bright. Yes, you did. I'm going to find it.
Oh, nope.
Oh,
You're right.
I follow you.
You're right.
So for individuals with sensory needs, the overwhelming sights and sounds of a stadium,
Oh, my God.
thundering music, flashing lights, shouting fans, and roaring fireworks can make attending events nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Strict no re-entry policies can also add to the challenge. Recognizing this, the Eagles created a space where fans can take a break, regain their comfort, and then rejoin the action on their own terms, if at all.
And still watch the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. Julian Maha, co-founder of Culture City, explained the vision behind sensory-friendly spaces. He's often asked, if you have a sensory need, why go to a loud event? Hate that, by the way.
Yeah.
His response is powerful, and it's this.
Let's hear it.
It's like saying if you have a wheelchair, you don't need to come because we don't have accessibility.
Yeah.
You should still have the right and the freedom to interact and to go to public places and be accepted and included.
Yeah, but you do have the option to not care about football.
Yeah, go
Like,
away.
bro, what a closed-minded, small-minded.
Narrow-minded.
Yeah.
The sensory room is more than a quiet space. It's a sanctuary carefully designed to support those who need it. The room features beanbags, interactive light panels, activity panels, sparkle interactive light furniture that responds to motion, bubble walls, and a tactile art piece created by an artist with autism. These features create a calming environment tailored to soothe and support guests.
I want to go in that room.
I know. I feel that.
My older son has been asking me to go to a football game, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. I don't think it's going to happen with me.
It's chaotic even for somebody who isn't triggered by sensory overload.
No, it's just like it's so much.
That's what I'm saying.
I also don't like football.
Well, that's probably part of it.
So taking him there for the experience sounds like a good idea. But I also know that, like, I've heard people say, even the biggest football fans, when you're in the stadium, it's just different. There's no distraction in between plays. There's no commercials. There's no break. You're just there watching this dumb game play out for 4.5 hours.
It takes 45 minutes for them to take 3 steps.
Oh, I know.
And when you're not in your home able to go fill that 45 minutes up with other stuff, I find it excruciating.
I've been using the phrase football time a lot recently.
And I like it.
Yeah.
I do love a good baseball game, though.
Is it 2 minutes football time or 2 minutes dog years? Because football time I can't do.
Right.
Yeah.
Very funny. Do you bring your baseball glove when you go to baseball games?
No.
Oh.
Do you?
No.
My son does.
I do.
Because he's 12.
Well, I'm not, but I am convinced every game that I'm going to catch the fly ball.
Have you ever caught a ball?
Nope.
One day, maybe.
One day, and I will be ready.
Yeah, you will.
So the Eagles didn't even stop with that amazing room. They also partnered with Culture City to offer sensory bags equipped with noise-canceling headphones, which you would love.
I wear it constantly.
Fidget tools, verbal cue cards, and weighted lap pads to provide to guests throughout the stadium. Every employee, including stadium staff and even the Eagles mascot, Swoop, completed sensory inclusive certification training led by medical professionals. Every employee, including stadium staff and even the Eagles mascot, Swoop, completed sensory inclusive certification training led by medical professionals. Swoop even added a pair of noise-canceling headphones to his signature look to demonstrate a thoughtful effort to connect with guests. The Eagles have also embraced technology, utilizing the Culture City app to provide a social story feature. This tool allows families to preview available amenities and prepare for their visit to reduce uncertainty and ensure a smoother, more enjoyable experience. The sensory room officially opened to the public on August 4th, 2019 during the Eagles training camp practice. This event wasn't just a milestone for accessibility, it also raised over $500,000 for the Eagles Autism Foundation.
Wow.
Among the attendees was Victor Yaruk, who brought his 10-year-old twin sons, Jack and Ryan, to their first live Eagles event. Both boys are on the autism spectrum, and for Victor, the sensory inclusive amenities were transformative. It removes the stigma that it's a raucous situation and all crazy, he said. To me, it means the world because you grow up loving this team. I couldn't be more proud of them. It gives me a big teaching tool to teach my boys about sportsmanship, camaraderie, doing the right thing, and giving back to a community. By the end of 2019, 8 other NFL teams, including the New York Giants, Denver Broncos, and Houston Texans, were also certified. Sensory inclusive certification expanded beyond football to include 21 NBA teams, 10 NHL teams, 9 MLB teams, and 3 Major League Soccer teams. This movement continues to grow and really shows that accessibility is not just a trend, but a necessary evolution, transforming how sports venues welcome fans of all abilities. In 2023, the Eagles reaffirmed their commitment to inclusivity by completely updating and refreshing their sensory room. While the room was initially designed with the autism community in mind, it has also become a haven for individuals with dementia, PTSD, anxiety, and other conditions. The private, supportive environment offers a space for anyone who needs a break to ensure that all fans feel safe, valued, and included. Through their groundbreaking efforts, the Philadelphia Eagles have proven that inclusivity is about more than accommodating differences. It's about fostering connection, removing barriers, and creating spaces where everyone can share in the joy of the game. Their vision has set a powerful standard and continues to inspire sports organizations around the world to make stadiums accessible to all. As indicated on the website for Eagles Autism Foundation, on the field, we're united by one objective: victory. Off the field, we are drawn together by an even larger goal: taking action for autism.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Jeff Lurie, hats off to you, sir.
And that concludes today's episode.
I wish we had 50 more stories to do. Maybe one day. We will.
I have a ever-growing list of
Yeah.
great news stories, so you will definitely be hearing more as we go through this journey.
And if it is, let's say, today is January 17th, let's say it's August, and you've just discovered the podcast and you're binging it, I just want to say hello to you while you're on your journey.
Yeah.
Just like I see you and I appreciate you ripping through these episodes.
Yes, and if you're re-listening,
Yeah.
right, because we know from Psychopedia people do re-listen.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
To this particular episode.
Freak.
Yep. Do you have a Tank's tidbit for us?
I do.
Then let's have it.
I do.
Please and thank you.
It's not a long, convoluted, complex one. It's really just like, sometimes things hit you,
Yes.
like very simple ideas.
That's usually what you are able to provide for me. That's always what I take away from you. Like the most impactful lessons, honestly, I've learned are like fleeting, simple statements that you've made that have totally changed the way I see things.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great to hear
Yeah.
for me. So first of all, I'm big on realization. When you take something that is a concept and you make it real, like actual realizing this knowledge that you have and putting it out into the world now or acting on it.
Yes.
I want to change that word.
Shut up.
I'm into actualization now,
Okay.
which is like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The top is self-actualization.
Okay.
So that's not the tidbit. The tidbit is today, I just want to encourage people. So it's not really a tidbit. It's more of like a call to action.
That's okay.
Find a small way in which you can improve your life. Inexpensive, fast, small, and do it. My recommendation, it's going to sound so stupid, but it has literally changed my mood. New socks.
Oh, new socks. You cannot underestimate.
You can't. And there,
New
it's
socks.
like you can redo. You can get a deep roster of socks, 12 socks, solid, really comfortable, well-washing socks, $46. I mean, I know it's not nothing, but it's like
Well, listen,
the return is phenomenal.
the military, if you look on their list of desired donations,
Yeah.
socks is top of the list.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because it's so important. First of all, it feels phenomenal, but it's also just like a psychological
yeah.
lift.
Like I used to say when I was selling fence, and we would have people who just want to do the returns, which is what's called the area that goes from the house to the property line. So if you're looking at a house, it's the fence that you see facing you. So those can be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 for like a nice return, depending on how big it is. And I used to tell people, like, it's not nothing, but as far as home improvement costs go, that is the fastest, easiest, cheapest way to change almost the entire appearance of your house.
The curb appeal instantly goes up.
The broad, nature of it, it's facing you. Whatever. Just it really changes the look of the house. So my thing is new socks. Maybe your thing is something else. A new, lip balm.
I was going to say lipstick. That's exactly what I was going to say. Change
That's
up
what
your
I was gonna say.
Change up your lipstick color. It's
I
gonna
went with
make
balm.
It's okay. You're going to feel completely different.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going for.
If
Or
that's
just,
what
it could be still, obviously, you could still feel like you're not changing your face.
No.
You're a little bit of a different vibe going on.
Getting yourself out of your routine is huge. I used to when I would drive to work, drive the same way every day. Every day, drive the same way, there and back. So I started taking different ways.
Yeah.
But like you run out of different ways.
Yeah.
So then I heard somebody say on your commute today, wherever you're going, even if you're driving your kids to school, wherever, notice 5 new things on the way there.
Oh, I do that with my kids.
Which you could do in a 2.5-minute ride, by the way. You don't have to be going far. And it's like all of a sudden you start seeing a tree with a sign on it that you've never seen before, or a boulder on somebody's lawn.
This becomes important too, I think, as you get older.
Breaks you out.
I remember my grandmother telling me, may she rest in peace, she was the most incredible woman. One of the hardest parts for her about getting older was sort of things became so monotonous.
Yeah.
So she said, so what do I do? I have my coffee before I brush my teeth now. Or, I've been for 60 years doing the reverse, you know. So she started changing like little small things in her routine, and it really made a difference.
Well, neuroplasticity is affected big time by small changes. Like there's this guy who has said, which I've done multiple times, just brush your teeth with the opposite hand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's going to feel weird,
Yeah.
but that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I started brushing my teeth, by the way, not as forcefully.
Good.
For your suggestion, I kind of let my wrist go like a little limp.
Yeah.
What a difference. My gums aren't throbbing when I'm done.
Oh, yeah. No, just like I heard somebody say recently that the proper order for oral care or whatever is floss, mouthwash, brushing your teeth.
Okay, I don't do it in that order.
That's the way to do it. So they said as far as like brushing before you floss is like vacuuming before you dust.
Oh.
So like you're knocking all this stuff on the floor.
That's a tidbit.
Yeah.
That's an excellent takeaway.
This whole thing is a giant tidbit. This
Yeah.
might be a cluster of tidbits.
Yeah.
So I hope any of it helps you.
For me, for sure, per usual.
Yeah.
Changed my life every single day we talk. So.
Per use.
Per use.
Yes.
UJE.
UZHE.
Yeah, if you're hearing this, if you've made it this far, let us know how you would spell per use.
Nobody knows.
Well, I'm just curious what people think.
Yeah. Maybe leave us a comment on Spotify.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for those now.
Okay. Well, if you're still here, you are a real one. You must be feeling fantastic.
That's the idea, guys. That's what we're hoping to offer you.
Yeah. And I hope that it has hit where we intended to hit you.
Right in the heart.
Right in the heart. Mm-hmm. So with that said, I think we're just about at the end of this episode.
We are.
And I would like to just, again, thank you for the work that you do.
My pleasure.
And the package you deliver it in. Very palatable.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
I don't know if that's the right word. And thank you for tuning in. And we will see you guys at the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Bye.